Let me show you the next project I want to work on. It's our home theater, and I've got a ton of ideas, but I've got even more questions. So here's what we're working with. You come down this hallway and down a couple stairs, and now you're standing underneath our garage. So this space is basically a concrete vault. You have foundation walls on 4 sides, concrete slab below, and then up above we've got the concrete ceiling. And then over in this corner, we only have 2 small pass-throughs for utilities unless we shrink the entry. And then to keep things entertaining, behind this wall is going to be a bathroom. So that definitely limits some of our plumbing and electrical options. And then on top of that, or below it actually, we have a sump pump over here that we have to have access to underneath that trap door. So those are some of the limitations we're working with. So here's what it looks like on paper. You've got the stairs coming down on the left. That back corner, you've got the little AV nook that connects to the utility area. And then generally speaking, after frame out, we're about 14 foot wide, 22 foot deep with 9-foot ceilings. So we're a family of 7 and hoping to build something that fits everybody. Whether it's just watching a movie down here or whether it's playing video games, maybe the boys playing Nintendo Switch, or myself and my brothers on Thanksgiving trying to sneak away from the rest of the family, play some old school Nintendo 64. This will be a great place for GoldenEye, obviously with slappers only or proximity mines, but that's how we're hoping to use the place. We started off with what I thought was a simple question of what's the biggest possible screen we can fit on this wall? And then you start jumping into questions like, well, where's the primary listening location? And do we want to do in-wall or traditional speakers? And how do we arrange the seating? Do we do aisles on each side, or do we offset things a little bit and then offset the screen as well? Where do we put the AV cabinet? If we offset the screen, do we put the AV cabinet in that corner, or do we keep the AV cabinet over here? If we slide all the seats over to the side, what does that do to the side speakers? And will we have issues with the angles there? So I sat down, tried to play around with it on paper, and then after a while, you know what? I just need to do something. So like any good DIYer, I just started building something and ended up with this platform. So let's talk about this for a second. So as I built out the platform, I tried to build it like I would a deck with the idea that there would be the ability for storage underneath. We framed with 2x6 joists, so there's not a lot of space. You can see this one back here has a piano hinge and a trap door so that I can potentially swap these out when I figure out exactly what I want to do. I did realize I didn't think through all my measurements, so we don't have a lip on this that we could hide LEDs underneath. I'm wondering if I should redo that, even though I did glue that down, so we'll see. Then the other question I'm starting to have is, should I just tear this out and redo it out of steel to give us a lot more clearance? This thing's 17 inches tall. If we do this with steel, that's a lot more storage and less wasted space. So just something that I'm trying to think through. So for the electrical, I think I have a good idea of the direction that I want to go. Originally, I started out running all the wires for each different element through these little utility holes. However, I'm rethinking that because if I want to do a separate circuit for the lights, for the outlets, for the AV rack, for the projector, that's a lot of wiring going back through what's going to be a bathroom. So if I have to have any electrical fixes in the future, I don't want to remodel the bathroom as well. So I'm thinking to locate a 50 amp sub panel here and then run everything off of that. Should be way more power than we need, but doesn't hurt to try to future-proof. The other issue I haven't figured out is air handling. I'm not sure if you caught the other comment, but 5 boys, small confined concrete vault. We definitely need to have some fresh air exchange in here. So whether we do a mini split or we tie into the HVAC, there's some questions over here. And again, with this being a bathroom, that's a lot of ducting to reroute if we set up another system to get in there. So I'm trying to figure out if it makes more sense to try and connect to the HVAC that's existing, or if we add a mini split with a fresh air kit, keeping in mind that we'd have to handle that condensation drain probably going back out through those utility holes because I don't want to drain to the sump pump, I want to drain to the regular sanitary sewer. So any ideas or thoughts on HVAC would be greatly appreciated. You'll see I did frame down the ceiling just a little bit, but we don't have enough room to fit a full duct up there. I don't know if we run something above this wall, turn it into a coffered ceiling. I don't know. I'm open to ideas and hoping for suggestions. So next up is the projector mounting. So this is our old projector that we picked up from Sam's Club a number of years ago. The boys have been using this to watch movies down here just on the concrete wall. That's good enough for them for now. But I'm trying to figure out what we want to do with this in the long run. We're hoping to get a 4K laser projector. And then obviously the different brands have different mounting locations. We want it where it's not going to be blocking the view from folks on the back row and not at a place where it's in danger of getting hit. So I'm thinking of building a box for it, but is that going to cause issues with airflow and lock me into a brand or a certain style for the future? So would love any ideas on mounting projectors as well. And then as far as lighting goes, I know this is kind of a little bit bright for a traditional theater right now, but when it comes time for cleanup, we want to make sure that you can see everything in here. The placement of these lights is not final. I'm playing with the idea of maybe we do add a coffered ceiling for HVAC and then drop them down, put it to the outside. And then do we do a starry sky type fiber optic ceiling in here? Do we do LED around kind of the coffered edges? I would love ideas and thoughts and suggestions of what to do with the lighting. And then when it comes to decor and aesthetics, we haven't figured out colors, finishes, furniture, or anything yet. Kind of hinted to the idea that I'm not even sure where to put the AV rack. Originally, my thought was that it would go back here in this corner and we'd have all the equipment right back here by the electrical. However, if we do an offset screen to the left, do we put a cabinet up on the right that would allow us to place all of our equipment, but also for older equipment like the N64 with the wired controllers, that could go up here. Don't know. I love thoughts and ideas, any suggestions. We also haven't figured out acoustics yet. I mean, you can hear how echoey this is. So wall treatments, what do we do? Also, speakers, do we do like the standard ones? Do we do in wall? And how does that tie into the feeling of the room? So you can see we're basically starting from scratch with concrete walls. Everything else is currently adjustable and movable. So what else am I not thinking about? What should we consider? What opportunities do we have that you typically wouldn't when you build out a home theater? So any ideas you might have, if you built a home theater or if you've just been collecting ideas, would love to hear your thoughts. Well, thanks for taking some time to look at this project with me. I'd love to hear your ideas, thoughts, and suggestions, whether it's the layout, the HVAC, the lighting, speakers, anything. I very much appreciate any thoughts. Thanks for watching.